Well, we've decided that the main focus of the London Youth Involvement Project for the next couple of months or years is going to be to try and put more education of drugs into the school curriculum, because
the reason why we've picked that is because not many schools actually have a decent drug education. They may have 1 or 2 lessons a year on it, therefore it's not enough of an education on something which can actually...
We chose drug education, and I think it's I vote for it as most important, because I think it's really important that young people have the knowledge so that if they do choose to take drugs, they know what they're letting themselves in for, and they're armed with knowledge.
I really think that the NHS and the A&E and the GPs are really interesting to talk to, because they're the medical side of the aspect that we're looking at and that we're dealing with, and maybe they could tell us what kind of patients they might come across and actually how many young people really do have problems with alcohol, and how many times they come to the A&E hangovers.
Going to a Catholic grammar school, they tend to stress less on these subjects, and there doesn't seem to be a real sort of curriculum. We seem to just do bits and bobs about drugs, but it's not every year, it's not consistent, and there's just very little. The teachers aren't as enthusiastic as they should be, maybe because they don't know as much as they should.
I think it's really important, because if the people, there was statistics, and the people that want to know about drug and alcohol, they go to teachers and parents, and if the parents and the teachers don't know anything about it, then they're just selling it for school.
Inside our actual school, it's been quite generic, just like a very outdated DVD and a leaflet or two. We did get some in a retreat centre that we went to, which was quite interesting, but I don't think it was really enough to really hit home to a lot of people.
It actually makes you think, I don't think I would have ever picked up drugs anyway, but it actually makes you think about what the actual effects could be. It makes you more aware, and it sort of scares you a bit, knowing what the effects could actually be.
In my school, we hardly get any education about drugs at all. Maybe once a year, or maybe not even at all. It never really comes up, and you have to really find your own sources of information about it, because the school doesn't.
Some adults think that young people are quite stupid, and that why would they think about that? Also, when people take drugs or drink when they're young, they think if it doesn't have an immediate effect, then it might have an effect at all, because they know that your body regenerates itself, but what they don't know is in later life it might have a really, really big effect on you, but they don't know that because no one's told.
I'd really like to speak to students to see if they find similar experiences with drug education, and see if maybe there's some areas that they'd like to know more about, or if maybe they've got some information that isn't actually accurate and they believe it is. And again, I would like to see more people being able to speak to rehab centres, because they're people who have been there and have a lot of experience, and they've seen the worst side of drugs.
Some schools, like a school in Harrogate for example, seems to be really good at teaching drugs, and some schools, just like mine and other schools, are just not. There doesn't seem to be a curriculum for it, so there should be really a consistency that all schools should have the same level, and that might bring drug abuse down and alcohol abuse down.